Whoa, 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 whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Charvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Charvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shawneya Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, OMG, but heard all across the world wide web. How you guys doing today? Listen, we are excited, as always, to bring you another phenomenal, dynamic show, and I'm going to introduce you to my guest. We start at the top of the hour out with an author spotlight, and then our second segment is an artist spotlight. So you know we love to spotlight authors and artists. So this is one of our typical classic shows here on the Shawneya Mitchell Radio Show. But listen, this is what I want you to do. I want you to jump on Twitter. Tell people what you're listening to. Hey, retweet me, twitter.com/Charvette. If you're on Facebook, jump on over to Facebook.com/Charvette. All of my posts are public. You can click right on the link, share it. Hey, tell people what you're listening to. Instagram, Charvette M. Oh, and you guys, have you all heard of the new social media buzz called Periscope? Yeah, it's I'm going to talk about it in an upcoming show, but it's live video streaming, and I might try to do Periscope and the show at the same time. I don't know how that's going to roll. But anyway, if you're on Periscope, give me a shout out over there, and you can follow me, Charvette, on Periscope. All right, so let's jump right on in. Again, so glad to have all of our listeners, all of those that are tuning in from all across the World Wide Web, from our broadcast stations. We thank you. All right, so in our first segment, I am excited to have hanging out with me in the virtual studio, in the virtual green room, Shawneya Ellis. Yes, she's an author, she's a minister, she's an inspirational speaker, she's a mentor, and she is here today to talk about her memoir, her autobiography. Oh, my goodness. Memoirs of an Overcomer. And I'm telling you what, this autobiography really tells the story of what one young girl had to do to survive. And it has been described as a book you cannot put down. Do you hear me? But listen, I do got to give a shout out to my second segment guest, who's going to be coming up a little bit later in the show, so make sure you hang around. We're going to be talking to BJ Shores. Yes, he is and has been described as a kingdom age worship leader. His talents as a writer and a producer and a director really show forth his integrity and his producing an unparalleled sound. And then he's also adding pastor to the list of things he's doing. So we're going to hear all about that. That's hot off the press, is late breaking. But listen, we're jumping right on in. I'm glad to bring up to the mic right now our first segment guest, again, author Shawneya Ellis is joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be on the show, and I love your theme, motivate, incite, and influence you. That is awesome.
Yes, that is what we aim to do. We feel like every interview will do one of the three, if not all of the three.
I believe it.
Wow. So let's start. Let's let listeners find out a little bit about you. So I want to start talking about how you've really been in ministry for over, 11 years. You've worked with youth ministry, intercessory prayer, community outreach, special events. How important has ministry been for you and in your life, really?
It has been extremely important because I always wanted to be a worker in the church. I always wanted to stay busy. Because when you find yourself being idle, you tend to stray off into other things. So it was very important when I first started, when I first got saved, but even more now because I just have a heart for ministry and a heart for the different facets that I do in ministry, such as youth ministry and intercessory prayer. So it's been really awesome, and I'm just so thankful to God for even expanding on what I'm doing in ministry and being able to take it out into the secular. So God is awesome.
You know what? He knows how to orchestrate our lives. I say often,
Yes.
he knows how to orchestrate and pull our lives all together. And certainly, you have a passion, really, to help women and men overcome, brokenness, past hurts, state of hopelessness. What gave you that compassion and to kind of focus on helping people in those areas?
Well, I believe when you go through certain things in life, it gives you not just a passion for it, but you can relate to it and you can be very transparent with people because you've been through that. So there's a level of compassion that you have, and you want to help people overcome some of the things that you've been through. And not just that, you don't want to see people necessarily make the same mistakes that you've made. So if you can help somebody to go down a different way, or just let somebody know, I made it through this and you can make it through it too. Because it's God's purpose for all of us to live a life of wholeness and completeness. So that's where my passion comes from, seeing people being whole.
Awesome, awesome. And for over 4 years now, you have assisted with the treatment of detox, substance abuse, and mental health patients as well in a well-known hospital. So not just ministry, but you are putting ministry in action. What have you learned over the 4 years of helping people through these types of situations?
Wow, I learned so much. It's actually going on 5 years now, and I've learned not to judge in that many walks of life. You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be rich, you can have 2 cents in your pocket, but everyone is going through. And surely money doesn't denote being depressed, because if money could keep people from being depressed, it wouldn't be people trying to commit suicide. So I just learned to relate to everyone on the level that they're on. And it's just been an awesome experience, because you never know what people have been through in their life. And everybody, to tell you the truth, could write a book. So it's just been awesome to get to know people and to be able to help them go through different stages in their lives.
I think you bring up a great point about having in our minds what we think. When we hear detox or substance abuse or mental health, we a lot of times in our minds have this framework of who fits that and who that looks like and what that person appears to be, when it is so vastly widespread and so vastly impacting all areas of society. We need to really wake up to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just more, you would not think that it would be so much more prominent now. I know that people are going through so many things in our lives, but the thing that saddens me the most is that the patients that we get, they're reoccurring patients. So it's something that people just really struggle with over the years, but we just do our best to help them, give them the coping skills that they need, and hopefully they'll beat their addiction. But like you said, you never know who's going through what, and it doesn't have a particular face. It doesn't just look one way. It could be anybody, any age, any race. So it admonishes us to pray for people and to help them when they're down.
Well said, well said. Oh, my goodness, if you just tuned in, hey there, you're checking out the Charvette Mitchell radio show. We're here live, broadcasting from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard all across the World Wide Web. And we're here, chatting up here with author and minister Shawneya Ellis. Yes, yes, yes. So welcome to all those that are coming in the chat room and on the phone lines. We see you. So let's talk about Memoirs of an Overcomer. So this is your autobiography. Now, you from your pictures, you appear young, a nice young lady, and a lot of times people think autobiographies are written like at the end of someone's life, at the end of their existence. But tell us what was the catalyst that said, okay, I need to document my story and I need to do it now.
Right. Well, I went through a lot of things early on in my life, even as a child. And from working with people, I noticed that some of the same things that I had been through in their past had brought them into their addiction and into depression and wanting to commit suicide. So I know that if it was so difficult for me to overcome, that my story could help other people and them in their different situations. But I definitely been through a lot, even as a teenager, just going through different issues such as teenage pregnancy, childhood sexual abuse, just tragedy and bad relationships at an early age. So it's a lot that one person can go through, even being young. I'm just so thankful that through my journey, God has allowed me to be a blessing to so many other people, and my story relating to so many other people, and them finding encouragement that, you know what, if she can make it, I can make it too. So it's been an awesome journey.
All right. How did you pick the title? And I noticed that you specifically have overcomer as 2 words. Now, I don't know if there's a story behind that, but a lot of times people make that a compound word. If there is a story behind that, we want to know, but just tell us how you came up with the title.
Well, I came up with the title, Memoirs of an Overcomer, because, of course, it was stories about my life, but I didn't want to use survivor, and I resonated with that so many years. I've called myself a survivor, and I had to look that up, like when I was writing my book, because being a survivor, that just means you're the one that made it when the others failed. But to be an overcomer is taking it one step further. Not only did you make it and survive, but you conquered it. It didn't overtake you. You overtook it, and you surmounted that thing. So that situation didn't get the best of you. You didn't just come out of it, but not only did you come out of it, you conquered it. So that was important for me to relate in my story, not to just survive and to exist, to know that you've actually conquered it, and that's behind you.
Oh, that's good. That is good right there. And did you go to dictionary.com or pull the dictionary out and say, you know what, wait, let me see what the definition is of a survivor?
Actually, I've just had teaching down through the years. I have an awesome leader, and, we've always been taught that we were overcomers. So it didn't take much to get that meaning, because that was something that was planted in us, but we just had to grasp hold of it. I just had to grasp hold of it. But survivor, I had to look that up and to actually go into depth of that. I don't just want to survive. I want to be an overcomer, and that's what I want for all of my readers and anybody that I come across. We don't just want to survive. We want to overcome and conquer, because that's what God wants for us.
Absolutely. I am in agreement with that. And so, stepping out on faith to put this book out, and I'm sure there were tender moments writing it. I'm sure there were moments when you were like, am I really putting this, pen to paper? I don't know if you felt like maybe some people might be indicted, or in the sense of, maybe they did some wrong. Did any or all of those feelings come about?
All of those plus some. There was times where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And it took a lot of courage, a lot of prayer, a lot of just knowing that it was God that commissioned me to do it, because honestly, that's the only way that I could do it. My story is a powerful one, but it affects so many other people. And I'm one that does not like to offend, but I'm also one who likes to be transparent and truthful. So it was very hard. But like I've said in my other interviews, it also brought healing to me, because I had to put this out, and it was very hurtful, because I was saying to myself, oh, God, this is going to affect people. I don't want other people to be hurt. But I had to move past that, like even getting to a place where I can be comfortable in telling my story. That was a part of my deliverance. That was a part of my healing. So it was definitely difficult, but it helped so many other people, so it was definitely worth it. And it also brought healing to those who were affected by it.
Oh, praise God. Now that's an impact right there. That is an impact. What do you say to the person that's listening saying, that sounds all good and all, but you don't know my situation, and I just don't see how I'm going to get out. I don't see how I'm going to come up from that. What I'm going through. What do you say to that person?
I think we've all had a point in our lives where we don't want to hear inspiration. We don't want to hear us. I mean, we know the scriptures, we quote the scriptures, and we just get to a point where we get overwhelmed in life, and we say out of our mouth we had the victory, but we walk around in defeat. And it's not that we want to, it's just the feeling of just being so overwhelmed and going through so many things back to back to back that it's like, okay, come on now, when is my relief going to come? When is my help going to come? God, I know that you can do it, but when are you going to do it? And I just say to that person that if you just wait on him, because I've been there, if you just wait on him and if you have a truthful and honest conversation with God, it brings relief. God just wants us to be truthful right where we are. It's okay to be honest and say, God, you know what, I'm just really not feeling this today. I know you, I love you, but I'm not seeing a change. I'm not seeing a result. He honors that prayer, and he moves in prayer. I am a witness to that, and he will bring you strength. You just have to be honest. You have to wait on him and know that your change and your answer is coming.
All right, there you have it. For anyone doubting, saying you don't know my situation or you don't know my circumstance, there you go, right there. And for this book, listeners, definitely pick it up. Memoirs of an Overcomer. Listen, you can get it on Amazon if you need. You want the Kindle version. A lot of people use their tablets and all that. And listen, I just jumped right on over to Amazon, and one of the reviews by Sanika Moody says this book was very good. Keep writing. This, and I'm just paraphrasing, because this gives other mothers and daughters and single moms an eye-opener to reality and showing people that there is hope to hold on to. I love the book. So shout out there right on Amazon.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
So, go right ahead.
I get a lot of people inboxing me on Facebook and finding me, messaging me, and it's a great encouragement. And I'm just thankful for those who say, you know, my story, your story was my story, and it was like I was reading my own story, and they just have a relief, and they just feel empowered by it. So I'm grateful to all of those who have came back to give me feedback on how my book has touched them. So that's awesome.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. While listeners are tuned in, tell them how they can connect with you, all your different connection points.
You can certainly connect with me on Facebook, Shawneya.Ellis. Also on my website, www.shawneyaellis.com. I'm on Twitter at We Are Overcomers. You can also, if you want to book me for any conferences or speaking engagements, my fabulous publicist, Faith a Believer, and you can contact her, faithinorder@yahoo.com.
All
I
right,
love
there
her.
you have it. Yes, big shout out to Faith the Believer, one of our supporters and sponsors connected with our show. So, woohoo, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. So, if someone picks up this book, what is your hope for that person? What are the main things you really want them to walk away with once they've read the book?
I want them to walk away feeling inspired, encouraged, like they can move forward. I want them to learn that gift of forgiveness, because it really is a gift to you, because you're so free and you're so much lighter after you forgive. I want them to have enough faith to know that whatever they're going through is working for their good. And everything that they're going through, God has given them an assignment to use that and to go forward. So I pray that after they read it, that they would not be stuck in their past, and that they would reach towards wholeness in their mind and in their spirit and just continue to go forward.
Oh, that's good. Reach toward wholeness. At least reach in that direction. And you know what? You tie in so nicely with our guest from last week, who wrote a book called The Audacity of Forgiveness, or The Audacity to Forgive. Yeah. So right in line with that, listeners. Right in line with that. So, what if someone has someone in their family? Maybe it's not them. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's a daughter. Maybe it's a son who has experienced a lot of challenges. Maybe there was some abuse, neglect. There's substance abuse. There's all of these different things going on, and they are saying, "How do I, as someone on the outside, how do I help them?" Do you have maybe 3 top tips for someone to help support someone, to pull them up, help get them out of the state they may be in?
First of all, it's awesome that they
All right, listeners, what we're going to do is take a very quick commercial break, and we are going to be right back. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Charvette will be back after this.
Spiritual Food for Thought, 31 inspirational quotes to jumpstart your day by LaTanya Boyd, consists of inspirational messages that offer daily words of empowerment, promote spiritual growth and development in the Lord Jesus Christ for your day-to-day living. Spiritual Food for Thought, 31 inspirational quotes to jumpstart your day. Available now on Kindle, ebook, and paperback. Log on to www.latboyd.com.
IndustryBuzz with 3Zs.com. Join in today on the movement to bring integrity back to media. With one click of a button, you can disseminate your information right from Industry Buzz to all your favorite social sites like Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, and to your email contact. Maximize your vision today. Plus, get the latest news, entertainment, and media. Need fashion or makeup tips? Looking for a job? Connect with us today. Want to connect with other business visionaries? Connect with us today. This site is for everyone, from teens to music lovers, from businessmen and women, industry professionals and performers. As a member of Industry Buzz with 3Zs, you'll gain help promoting your vision. Industry Buzz with 3Zs will expose, expand, and keep your fan base up to date with all your happenings. Members also receive free or discounted perks from various sponsored companies. So join the social network, expand, and stabilize your business. Connect with like-minded individuals. Need an artist to minister at your upcoming event? Look on Industry Buzz. Have a voice and submit your article to our e-magazine. Industry Buzz with 3Zs is the place to globalize your vision. Establish it today. Be heard. It's all on IndustryBuzzWith3Zs.com. She's here to motivate, excite, and influence you. She's Charvette Mitchell. Charvette Mitchell. It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show with in-depth interviews from today's leading authors, gospel artists, stars that you want to know about. And now, Charvette Mitchell.
All right. Welcome back, listeners. We're so glad to have you tuning in, checking us out here. Listen, we are in our author spotlight with Shawneya Ellis, and I'm telling you what, we are bringing her back up to the mic right now. Shawneya, welcome back. And we were just chatting about 3 tips that you could offer listeners if they have people in their lives that they want to help kind of get up and out and over situations.
Yes. First of all, I think it's important that they even address it because so many times in our families, we tend to adopt the attitude of what goes on in this house stays in this house. We want to do away with that completely. You can't get healing if you're having secrets. So just being honest, them being able to open up to you, that is number one. Be in a place where they can trust you enough to tell you what's going on with them, and then have the courage to act on it, have the courage to confront. That's number two. And if any means, if it's going on in that house, whether it be your son, whether it be your daughter, or you can be an auntie or an uncle, if you have the power to remove them from that situation, do that. And I think so many times people adopt the attitude, that happened back in the day and we just move forward. But it's a new day, and we carry that if it's not addressed. And we carry those issues as an adult if it's not addressed in our childhood. So like I said, just having the courage to address it is the biggest thing.
All right. Wonderful, wonderful. Well said, well said. All right. So tell listeners one more time how they can get a hold of your book.
They can go on my website, www.shawneyaellis.com. It's also on Amazon, as you said, through Kindle or paperback. And it's also available on Facebook just by clicking on the picture. It'll prompt you right to the Amazon website.
All right, quick and easy, very simple for you. So the goal of my show, as we mentioned earlier, is to motivate, excite, and influence, and we want to know what continues to motivate you.
Evolving. Just because I don't want to be the same person I was yesterday. My family, they motivate me to be better. I think that when you get to a certain point in your life, you always want to see growth from where you once were. So that's always motivation for me to do better and to be better, especially when you know that there's giftings that God has placed inside of you to do. There's never a resting moment. And I'm sure that you can relate to that because we just have so much stuff going on. But that definitely motivates me. Wanting to evolve.
That is very good. I don't think I've ever heard anyone answer that question with that word. So that's awesome. That's awesome. And I love to let listeners know, you have a happy ending, to your story. And it's really not an ending, a continuation. You're happily married. You have beautiful children. So, proof is in the pudding that the things can turn the corner and change for you with God's support and help, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. And so you are also reaching back really into the community to help those that want to write a book. I saw you post on your Facebook you have something new, like a new initiative or new program where you can help first-time authors. Tell us about that.
Yes, it's a new business that I just launched. It's called Birthing Your Baby, and it's for first-time authors. I know when I first started writing that I had a lot of questions, and I didn't know exactly who to connect to. I knew that I had a story, but I didn't know how to get my book published. Where do I go to get it edited? And you want to connect with people who have your vision in mind, and you want to connect someone who isn't going to try to change your words, and you just want to get your story out there, and you want it to be phenomenal. So I said that I wanted to do this offer this service for first-time authors. So it's been awesome. I just started. I was actually doing it, but not putting a name to it. So
as we often do. As we often do.
So I'm so excited about that. And that is also on Facebook where you can find out more information about that.
Great. Listeners, take her up on that. Again, our author spotlight with author and minister Shawneya Ellis. Thank you so much for stopping by the show. It's been great having you on.
Thank you. It's been great to talk to you anytime.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Listeners, what we're going to do is go to a very quick commercial break, and then we're going to be back with our second segment. I see my guest is hanging out in the virtual green room, enjoying some virtual snacks. We're going to be chatting with BJ Shores coming up right after this quick commercial break. Don't you go anywhere.
It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Charvette will be back after this.
Hello, we are 123jobzone.com, an online job search portal. We are user-friendly, and if you're searching for a job, with us, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, go to www.123jobzone.com and register as a job seeker. Step 2, once registered, upload your resumes. Step 3, get connected with employers looking for people like you who are ready and willing to work. Don't forget to follow 123 Job Zone on Twitter and Facebook to find out more about our upcoming job fairs. What are you waiting for? Stop by 123jobzone.com today. Good luck with your job search.
Today, my new dad threw a barbecue.
I burnt everything.
And then we played catch.
I broke Mr. Lewis's window. And then, somehow, my hand. My hand!
And then my dad even let me drive his car.
The hospital's on the right! It was a rough day.
It was a great day.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
She's here to motivate, excite, and influence you. She's Charvette Mitchell. It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show with in-depth interviews from today's leading authors, gospel artists, stars that you want to know about. And now, Charvette Mitchell.
All right. Welcome back again. Super excited to have you guys tuning in and checking us out here. This is your girl, Charvette Mitchell, broadcasting from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard all across the world wide web. Big shout out to all those that are listening in from Twitter, from Facebook, from our mobile app, from Charvette.com, from our broadcast stations, all that good stuff. Those hanging out on the phone lines, those in the chat room, we appreciate you here on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. So we're moving right on into our second segment. We call it an artist spotlight, but this gentleman is great and is doing a little bit more than that. So we're going to find out all about it. I'm going to the mic to bring up to the mic right now, BJ Shores. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you are live in the air. We are glad to have you.
I'm glad.
My goodness. Did you enjoy hanging out in the virtual green room?
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. The donuts were great.
Fabulous. Well, I told our listeners a little bit earlier, certainly about you. You've been described as a kingdom age worship leader. You're a writer. You're a producer. You're a director. And now we can add a pastor. I don't know if you've been doing it, but I saw on your Facebook that you will be. And so let's start from the beginning. How did ministry start for you and your mom? When do you first recall saying, okay, this is ministry, I'm in ministry?
Wow. That's a okay, I guess you could say ministry for me. Yeah, that's a loaded question for me. I guess you could say ministry started for me at a young age. When I was about maybe 12 or 13 years old, I knew that I was supposed to be involved in ministry because of just the way things were. Like, I was always connected to the things and the ways of God. I was one of those children that I didn't grow up in the streets and did the things of the streets, although I'm from the streets, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, I grew up in a rough neighborhood. I did a lot of the rough stuff, but I wasn't a drug dealer. I wasn't like a womanizer. I didn't do all of that kind of stuff. But I was very much so aware of my surroundings. So I'm from the streets, but I'm just not really from the streets.
Okay.
And which is good
because you're relatable.
Yeah, and that kind of always let me know that it must have been something else on my life because it didn't make sense. Because, like, when I tried the club, it didn't work. Like, I would go to the club, I'll try to dance, it wouldn't work. I'll try to meet girls, pick them up, it wouldn't work. I tried to smoke, it wouldn't work. I tried to drink, it wouldn't work. It just didn't work for me. So I said, okay, God, it got to be something. And then he, started pointing me in the direction of, calling ministry. So I figured, oh, that's my niche, that you called me to this and you won't let me break loose. You won't let me do the other stuff because you need me to be pure. I got it.
Wow.
And that's kind of how it worked.
Wow. Okay, awesome. And so the music side, let's start there. Writing, producing, what musical gifts came first?
Man, I would say playing. I actually played piano. And I played piano for so many different artists, like so many national greats, from gospel legends to R&B legends and stuff like that. God has blessed me in that capacity. So I would say what the music piece started was the playing, actually being able to play. And then I would say the next thing was probably composing, because there's a difference between writing music and composing music. And the composition of the music is actually when you create a vibe versus a song. All right, and what do I mean by that? I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm deep, but
no.
It's really
we
the difference.
Like to educate. Yes, educate us.
All right, composition is a vibe. Musicians talk a lot of times using this term. They say, I have a vibe, or I create a vibe. Well, vibes are not sound. Sound is just that. The actual definition of a sound is a vibration that either repels or pulls you to it. It either deflects you or it reflects you is what it does. That's what sound does. However, a vibe is a feeling. And the best way to explain that is just simply saying, if you're around somebody, you could say, I feel their vibe. Where their vibe is usually what you feel. It's not what you hear. So what compositions are is creation, or the composition, the arrangement of the sound that creates the vibe. So I was a composer second, and then I became a songwriter after that.
Wow. Okay, and did you feel like they naturally progressed? It was a natural progression for you?
Yes, absolutely. It was very natural for me. It was not something I ever had to force. I'm very spiritual as well. And what was happening was, as I was learning about what it was that I was doing in the physical, meaning I was learning, I was writing songs, I was learning how to do it, God started teaching me spiritually and supernaturally what I'm doing as well. And there's a scripture, I think it's Psalms 45:1, and it actually says that my heart is inditing a good matter, and my tongue is the pen of a ready writer. And that became my life scripture when it came to writing and composing, because what happens is you can't write about something you've never lived. You can write about it, but it will be a lie. And it's not that it can't be a good song, because a lie can be good too. There's some people that are very good at lying. But so when it comes to writing a song, if you're writing a song that is a lie, you can write a very good lie. You can write a very good song. But what God told me to write is he wants me to write something that is an indictment. The Bible uses the word indicting a good matter. Well, indictment usually means that a judgment has been cast on a particular situation. So for him to say that my heart is indicting a good matter, that means I've been charged with goodness. Oh, God, I felt that one as I said it. So as a result, I can't even write about the way he created me, the way he gave it to me. I can't even begin to write a song unless it's something that I've been through or something that I believe. If I don't believe it, I can't write it. That doesn't mean that's for everybody, but that's me. That's what he gave me.
All right. I like that. I like that right there. And the songs that you write, is there a genre that you write in often? Do you just write across genres? Where do you find yourself?
That's a funny question, because for years I've always written in the genre of gospel. However, God has exposed me to what's called Christian contemporary music. And that style of music, I think, fits me a little bit more appropriate, because of the idea of what Christian contemporary comes from. It doesn't stem from my concept of God. It stems from my actual relationship. So, and I'm not trying to downplay gospel music, because there are some major gospel songs out here. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with gospel, but I do believe that Christian contemporary is stemmed from the heart. It is not stemmed from a mentality. It's stemmed from a heart. Meaning, like for instance, gospel music talks about God a lot, but Christian contemporary talks to God.
All right.
So the difference is it forces a direction versus a euphoria.
Wow. All right, listeners, I'm telling you what, the goal of our show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And listen, BJ Shores is influencing your thoughts around music and around ministry right now, right here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. All right, good. So tell us about BJ Shores and Message.
Oh, man, they are my babies, meaning, and when I say that, I do not mean that insulting. I mean that is the first birth that God has allowed to manifest through the ministry that he placed in me. So I view them as my first child. That is like my first child, literally. So Message, BJ Shores and MSG, which is Message, MSG stands for Message, which actually birthed from a concept called Miraculous Sounds of God. MSG used to be called Miraculous Sounds of God. Years ago, we're talking literally 1996 is when it started. So we're talking almost 19 plus years of how long it's been. It's been a long time.
Yes.
It's been a long time. And the reality is that it came from a idea that happened for our youth service, youth revival. They simply wanted me to do some kind of musical thing. So I said, you know what, let me get a couple guys together and see if I can sing, come up with something to sing. And literally, as we was rehearsing, in the backyard of my house, literally outside in the backyard rehearsing, people in their neighborhood was being blessed by us rehearsing. So people was coming to our doorstep. Now, we're in the backyard. There will be people coming to our front door asking, do you mind if we go to your backyard and we listen to the group of kids out there that are just singing? And it became a ministry it was almost by default. Like, we ended up ministering to people by default.
Like not even planned. Like, ministry just happened. Literally. Like, and it was like, what I said was, I was like, I do not want to be somebody that's creating a group because I'm trying to be seen. I don't care about being seen. I've done enough stuff in my life. Like I mentioned from the start, I played for people all over the world. I do not care about being seen. I've done that. I've been there. I've done that. I've been on the stage with thousands of people. None of that mattered to me as far as having a group. That did not matter. So what my thing was, I was like, Lord, if I'm going to have a group, you're going to have to create everything. Create the people, create the songs, give me musicians, give me a church to rehearse at, give me engagements, and literally everything that I ever said to God, he gave to me. All right, I got to say this real quick when it comes to people with groups. This is just encouragement. Now, I have almost 20 years doing this, so I'm going to give you some straight, raw, unadulterated advice. Yes, please. Do not have a group that you are creating by walking up to people requesting their services. Do not do that, because if you're doing that, you could be disrupting the plan that God has for you. This is the reason why, because God does not give you a vision without provision. So any person, any ministry that he's telling you to start, he's going to tell you specifically how he wants you to run the ministry, how you're going to get the people, how you're going to do, okay, what do I mean? God told Noah, build the ark, and I'll send everything that's supposed to go in it. Yeah. God said, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men. All we got to do is build the situation, and God will add the increase. So that is some real talk. Because what kills me and what I'm seeing that is literally corrupting and destroying the integrity of ministry, music ministry, is that people are looking for the best rather than giving God their best. Ooh, that is good. And it's so true. I mean, there are so many groups, there's so many ensembles, there's so many concerts. I say all the time, you can have a church service and then you go to a concert that evening. The culture, the concerts, they have their own culture. It doesn't, sometimes don't even feel like church. It feels churchy. It feels churchy, but it's a whole different culture. Oh my goodness! And listeners, I failed to mention BJ Shores is an ASCAP award winner and Stellar Award nominee. So just drop that in, after we gave you the nuggets. But you're so right. You are so right. It's about who's the best, and just about sound, and the ministry is kind of secondary and stuck over to the side. So, all right. So clearly you are about ministry.
See, you making me say other things. So I'm trying to let you ask the question, but it's forcing me to say stuff. All right, this is something else. Another thing for the ministers that are listening, that's trying to, get started, or even been ministering for years. This is another thing. Stop trying to create a sound. Reason why is because sound is not something that you hear, it's something that you do. What do I mean is that the definition of sound, the first word says what it is. It's a vibration. It's actually vibrations that are actually creating a sound, creating something you can hear. A vibration, which means a vibration is something that you do. It's something that creates. It's a verb. So when you're creating a sound, you're creating something for someone to do. Okay, what do I mean by that? That explains sound doctrine. That doctrine has to be something you do. It can't be something you hear. It has to be something you do. So I tell these people, all the ministers, everybody I'm with, every person I minister to, I mentor, all of that, I tell them, stop trying to create something that's decent. Don't create something that's dope. Don't come up with the hottest licks and the greatest singing. Come up with the greatest worship. If you can figure out how to get people to fall on their face because of worship, and I have the answer to that as well. How do you make people worship? And the answer to that is simply stop trying to minister to people. The book of Ephesians chapter 5, verse 8 says, whatever you do, do it as unto the Lord. And it literally says, and not to people, which means I never am supposed to be ministering to people through music. Music ministry was never designed for people. It was designed for God. God had Lucifer in heaven, or Satan in heaven. He created him as music for him, for his glory. People were never designed to be the blessed recipients of music. So music was never designed for people. But what happens is we seem to take music as if it's for us, and that's always been the problem. Deuteronomy 21:5 said, and the priests and the sons of Levi shall come near, for God has chosen them to minister unto him. Which means if we get this concept, we'll stop trying to minister to people and minister to God. And as we're ministering to God, God gives us the authority and the ability to bless. That's where laying of the hands come from. That's where the speaking of the tongues come from. That's where all of that stuff comes from my ministry to God. So in other words, all right, I'm sorry I'm flowing, but I'm sorry. But in other words, this is what actually happens. Whenever I get on stage, just for every minister, I hope y'all listening. I hope y'all writing, taking notes and everything. Google it, whatever. Hashtag me, BJ Shores. Hashtag BJ Shores, because I want to see who's listening. But this is it right here. When you are doing music ministry, this is it. I hope y'all listening. When you're doing music ministry, you are never exposing them to what you're doing. You are exposing them to the time you spent with God. Woo! So what do I mean when I say that? Is that I'm saying people need to be worship-led. You're leading them into worship, which means people already know what worship is because they do it every Sunday. They come to church every single Sunday. They know what worship looks like. So you don't have to introduce worship to them. What you're doing is introducing your time you spent with them. And that's what gives them what's called a rhema, because now they're getting a newness of something that you've experienced. So stop trying to minister to people, minister to God, because every day with Jesus is different. Every day I get with Jesus and I speak to him, he gives me a newfound love. It says every day is brand new mercies. So every day I got a different praise. I got a different worship. So I can stand up and sing the same song every single week, but I should have a different worship connected to that praise, because this is not the same day as it was yesterday. For this is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Not be glad in what happened last week. Be glad in it today.
Oh, my God. Yes, listeners, BJ Shores. My goodness. And so that will cut down with worship leaders, lead worshipers, fussing on Sunday mornings or Wednesday nights Bible study.
Yes.
Because the people are not responding or they're not looking or acting as you think, so then you start fussing.
Yes, Lord. If you read the scripture, there are so many. Okay, I asked this question before. When did Jesus get a standing ovation? Where in the Bible does it ever say that people shouted when Jesus spoke? Oh, God, here's a greater one. This is the greater one. When have you ever heard a praise and worship team with Jesus? So there's only been one incident in the Bible where it ever speaks of people giving an uproar or a crowd worshiping and praising when Jesus shows up, and that was when he was about to die on Palm Sunday. That's the only place. So that means God's response. God's word and God's ministry never worried about the response of the people because he didn't expect one.
Ooh, yes.
So at the end of the day, if I'm standing in front of people and I'm giving God glory, I should not worry about what the people are going to do or say because I'm not doing this for them.
That's right. Oh, my God. So you explain it. It's so simple. God, help us get it. Help us get it all across the nation. Help us get this. And so I have to interject here. The refreshing church done the way we need it. Tell us about it.
Oh man, okay, that's controversial. Okay, okay. This is what this is. God gave me a vision called the refreshing. When you think about the refreshing, the concept or even the word refreshing literally means to drink or to satisfy a thirst literally again. So thirst, satisfy a thirst again. So definitely it's connected to a thirsting that you have to have that is satisfied again. The reason why it's called the refreshing and it says literally church done the way we need it is because oftentimes I think we're doing too much stuff in church that's killing the way that we really should be addressing God. Let me give you an example. There's only two things that happens in church that belongs to God. Out of everything that happens in church, everything that happens, announcements, pastoral anniversaries, church anniversary. I'm not hating on it, but I'm just saying there is a lot of stuff that we do in church that has nothing to do with God. There's only two things that literally happens in church that belongs to God. He's asked us for two things. One is literally worship. He says, worship me. That's what he wants. He wants worship. God is the Spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in the Spirit and in truth. Before that, he said, he seeketh such to worship him. He's seeking true worshipers. So he wants worship. That's the first thing. The second thing he wants is offering. So there's only two things that happens in church that belong to him. Everything else is for us.
Wow.
So the reason why that service is called the way church needs to be done, basically, is because I call it literally. God gave it to me just like this. I'm going to have a refreshing church service, wow style. W-O-W.
Wow style.
And what that means is worship, offering, and word.
All right.
That's it.
Simple.
That's all you need. The rest of the stuff, we can email you. Social media is great, so we can put it on social media. We can text it to you. We can do all kinds of other stuff. We can mail stuff to your house. We can call all kinds of stuff. We have a bulletin board that can show up.
Yeah.
We got a digital board, put everything on the board. When they show up to church, we shouldn't be coming to church focusing on business. We should be coming to church to worship.
To worship. To worship. Wow. W-O-W style. Now, how can listeners come to the refreshing? When is it happening? Where? All that good stuff.
Okay. The refreshing right now is happening in it's in Jersey at Macedonia Baptist Church in what is it? Westville, New Jersey.
Yes. Yep. Okay, good. And what time and days?
It's on Sundays at 12:30. So the reason why we do it at 12:30 is so that you could be late and still be on time with us.
There you go. Belay is still on time, and you have your flyer says it's an interactive experience. What is? Tell us about that.
That means it's tweetable. Everything that's said, I allow people to have their phones out in this service. I tell them all the time, this is tweetable right here. Take the phone out and tweet this.
Good.
Facebook this. Reason why? Because we're trying to change the concept of corruption of social media. So what we're doing is taking social media and sanctifying it.
All right. Sanctified Twitter, sanctified Facebook, sanctified Instagram. Now we got Periscope. Sanctified Periscope, all of that and all of that. Okay, so wonderful. Music, new music that people can get their hands on. For listeners that may be listening in and want to hear some of your music.
Yeah, my music right now is on iTunes, Amazon, pretty much all of the major distribution shops. On digital, everything. You can just Google and put in BJ Shores. Just put in BJ Shores because all kinds of stuff will come up. But the most recent album we have is called Epic. And the idea of epic is that I believe God wants us to have an epic experience with him. And that epic